Hello. Hope everyone's doing well. We were going to do the poetry thing today, start reading some poetry, but guess what? Technology wasn't cooperating, so we have to do something else. Well, so what we're going to do today is what we were going to do on Monday. We're just reversing it. So you remember that? Number 5. We are going to go over some words for the short story that we're going to read after Criers Cross. So we'll get the difficult vocabulary down about a month or two in advance, though. So these words are something that we can work with for a little while. And then when we get to the story, you'll be like, ooh, I know that word now. So hope you're all doing well. This will probably take about 15 minutes, maybe a little less, but there are 15 words here. 15 words for Gingerbread Girl, short story by Stephen King. Should be pretty amazing. I've read it with, I don't know, 15 classes probably throughout the years. Usually pretty popular. So let's get it's Stephen King. How can you go wrong? So let's get these words up here. I can make myself really small. We have an ad for a new Disney movie that's coming out. Seems like Disney's always coming out with a new movie, right? Most of them are good. I don't know about Encanto. It could be, it could be maybe Spanish. It sounds almost Italian there. Encanto. Anyways, let's worry about the words that we actually have to study here. Remember, not a summative, but formative. 32 points, though. So it can hurt your grade if you don't turn it in. So over the next couple days, hopefully you'll be watching this a couple times and filling this out. And of course, if you need any help, I'm here. But the first one is palmetto. Palmetto. And there's a picture here. It's just, it's a small palm tree. We don't have them growing here in Maine because it is far too cold. But if you ever go to South Carolina, I do recommend it. It's a pretty cool state. When I used to go there, there was a very inexpensive gas, very cheap gas, 97 cents a gallon. But South Carolina is the palmetto state. And you might see some palmetto trees. Gingerbread Girl takes place in Florida. So you'll definitely see some palmetto trees in Florida. The next one is invariably. Invariably. And it means always, without changing. So invariably, it will snow this winter, right? I mean, it's Maine. I mean, each winter it seems like we get less and less snow, but invariably it will snow. Maybe not until January, but it always snows. Invariably snows. Man, it seems like let me just rant here for a second. Although I don't think it happened yesterday, but it seems like during class we will invariably be interrupted. Invariably be interrupted by announcements, right? It was just a picture retake. I was a little upset that day, but hopefully I don't think we were interrupted at all yesterday, but it seems like invariably we'll be interrupted, and invariably I'll get upset over the interruption. So it's going to happen. It's bound to happen invariably. I don't know. It seems like over the winter, right? Invariably, like someone will get sick. A lot of you are watching, I hope, at home, following right along with class. I know most of you aren't sick. You just had to quarantine for a little while. Can't wait till you get back, but I hope everyone's feeling well if you're not here. And even if you are here, I hope you're feeling well. Invariably. Invariably. Next one, scroll down a little bit past this ad. Sheaf. Sheaf. This is a word that you won't see all that much, but think of it as like a bundle. So oftentimes like a sheaf of hay, it'll be something, there's like some string that ties a bunch of things together. You'll often hear it like on the farm. Yeah, hay, grain. I think though, I mean, just because of Stephen King, a sheaf of hair, he says, a sheaf of hair, which if you think of like grain or hay, hair, I mean, I don't have much on the top of my head anymore, but if somebody has long hair, it could be a sheaf of hair. And spoiler alert, if I remember correctly, It's a sheaf of hair that is hanging out of somebody's trunk. So a bundle of hair, like somebody's long hair in somebody's trunk. But we'll get to that later. The next one, let me make it a little bigger so you can see it, is peripheral. Not an easy word to say, just like invariably. Peripheral. It means on the edge. And you can see there's a person, their eyes are right here. And we almost often talk about, your peripheral vision. You see something just on the out of the corner of your eye, we call that your peripheral vision. A lot of you will be driving soon. Scary thought, but a lot of you will be driving, practicing maybe as early as next year, like as a freshman. So this time next year, if you're turning 15, which I know some of you will be. Somebody just had a birthday yesterday. I won't embarrass her on, you know who you are, November 3rd. Invariably, wait, no, we're not doing invariably, but invariably, many of you will be driving soon. And then hopefully you have really good peripheral vision so you can see things out the corner of your eye. Just in case, people walking by, you don't want to have tunnel vision. That's the opposite of peripheral vision. You don't want to have tunnel vision and just see what's in front of you. You want to be able to see what's on the side of you, and we would call that peripheral. You could use it with a building or a person, like the basketball courts are on the peripheral of the school, like on the side of the school. Peripheral. Not easy to say. Next one. Come on now. This is basically review. Basically review. Right now, hopefully you've already taken vocabulary quiz number 4, because then you will know simultaneous. Same thing here. Simultaneously. Simultaneously. You might hear that a bit more often. Let's make it big. Happening at the same time. So it looks like that picture there, is that a kid? It looks like it might be a kid. Well, he is, I thought that was, it's just 2 water bottles. So he is drinking from 2 water bottles simultaneously. I thought that was ketchup and mustard. I thought that he was pouring ketchup and mustard into his mouth simultaneously. Let's get like super boring here. And you may already say, wow, this is boring already. Well, I hope you're not saying that. Please don't say it out loud. That would hurt my feelings. But let's talk about what adverbs do. Simultaneously is an adverb. And so it describes like what verbs are doing. Real short definition there. It does some other things, but if you're doing something, you can do it simultaneously at the same time. So it describes verbs. Yeah, you can do something simultaneously. What I do quite a bit, I think I encourage you to, if it works for you, only if it works, but music, I find it kind of calming. So a lot of times I will do my work while simultaneously listening to music. So a couple ways to use that. Maybe you might see that on the quiz. That's a good example. I might use one of those on a quiz simultaneously. The next one, preceded. Oftentimes, the first thing that popped into my mind for this one, it actually talks about death. Oh, a sad subject. But preceded, it means came before. So let's say, unfortunately, let's say they're in their 90s, older couple, man and a woman, okay, older couple. The way it works is usually the man goes first, right? Men just don't live as long as women on average. So if the guy dies before the woman in this couple, it might say, like when the woman dies, you might say that she was preceded by her husband. So like he went first. So in this school, on a little bit happier note, unless you think school's not happy, which you might think that, you might hate school, right? Possibly. It's middle school. Not many people like it. But in this school, class B precedes class C. So comes before. Hope that makes sense. Oh, the next one, arduous. Arduous. Let's make this a little bigger. We can check out the definition. Hard to do, requiring much effort. If something is arduous, it's hard to do. I hope watching this video right now, we're at 10 minutes. I hope this is not arduous. It's hard to do. I hope it's kind of relaxing. You're getting some information. I hope it's not too boring. But a lot of times when something is boring, it's even harder. So you could call it arduous. I hope the work in here isn't that arduous. I hope I've prepared you enough for the work so that when you do it, you're like, it's not that bad. Not that bad. That's what these videos are designed to do. You get the information, and then when you get the assessment, it makes it a little bit easier, not as arduous. But I can imagine, like, my father worked construction, right? He did a lot of digging. A lot of times the machine would help him, but sometimes you got to get out there and dig. That's arduous work. I think teaching can be arduous work. It's not physically hard, but mentally, being a student right now, middle school, it could be arduous. You have 5 classes. It can be pretty arduous. Another word that's not easy to say, arduous. All right, the next one. If you read any Stephen King at all, he loves this word, and actually so do I, but it's guttural. Guttural. Let's look at the definition. Produced in the throat, harsh, rasping, throaty. A lot of times Stephen King, a lot of people die in Stephen King books, right? A lot of times they die in horrific ways, or Stephen King movies, if you've watched any movies. But there will often be like a guttural sound as someone is punched, or worse, a guttural sound. It's a sound that comes deep within the throat, almost like the gut, It has nothing to do with gut, I don't think, but it has more to do with the throat, or maybe the gullet. Sometimes I don't want to make this too confused. I don't think it has anything to do with gullet either. But if that helps you remember, I think for some animals, like their throat is called their gullet. Maybe from people too. But if that helps you, guttural. It comes deep within, a guttural noise. It's a good word to know. Good word to know. Another good word to know, especially for this time of year, because it is getting cold. When I woke up this morning, I think it was 24 degrees. So if you have a wood stove at your house, you might also have kindling. Kindling. And you can see the definition right here. Dry sticks of wood used to start a fire. So you might know this from having a campfire or whatever, or if you have a wood stove at home, you can't just put the whole big chunks of wood in the stove at first. They'll never burn. Even if you put newspaper in there, you got to put the little dry sticks of wood in there first. They're more likely to catch on fire. And those dry sticks we call kindling. Really great for starting a fire. Kindling wood. Kindling wood. Next one. Premonition. Premonition. I hear some people in the next room. I hope you don't. Being very loud. Maybe I need to move. Maybe I'll move seats. Let's see. Let's do it. Let's move seats. I'll move to the back of the room. I don't want to say who's making some noise back there, but you might know who's back there. Let's go right here. How's the lighting? Oh, man. There's a shine on my forehead. I wish I had more hair up there, but I don't. All right, maybe I'll sit right here. What's the next one? Premonition. Premonition. If you have ever seen the word pre, well, it's not a word, but the prefix pre, you might know what pre means. Do you? Pre? I'm hoping you're watching this for the quiz. So like you're preparing for the quiz. Pre-read, maybe. A lot of times we pre-read the questions before we actually, how's this? Quite the glare. But pre means before. Pre means before. So a premonition, anytime you see pre at the beginning of a word, like a prefix, it means before. So a pre-game, before you play the game, you might do some warm-ups. You might do some stretching or something like that. Coach might give you a pep talk during the pregame. A premonition, pronounced just a little bit differently there, but it's a forewarning, a feeling that something bad is about to happen. Okay, it's a premonition. You can see this person has a crystal ball. Well, you don't need a crystal ball to have a premonition, but it might help. If you're reading a Stephen King book, the minute you start reading, you should have a premonition, like something bad is going to go down, right? Almost inevitably, invariably, bad things happen in Stephen King books. That's why we read them. We like to learn the bad things. But you might just wake up. I hope you didn't have a premonition that, and it's always bad, right? It's always bad. It's never like you have a thought that good things are going to happen. You have a premonition. It's like bad things. Well, in the definition, it doesn't say bad, but it's invariably bad. It's almost always bad. But you might have a premonition that something bad's going to happen. It's just like, you get that funny feeling. Maybe you woke up on the wrong side of the bed. Like, today's going to be a bad day. But I do this to myself all the time. I lie to myself. I say, hey, today's going to be a great day. And guess what? I believe that lie. And guess what? It's usually a pretty good day. All right. Hope that helps. Premonition. The next one, sterile. Oh, we know this probably pretty well after the whole COVID thing, but you want the hospital to be sterile. Ideally, you want your desk to be pretty sterile, but we would only use this for like super clean places, most likely a hospital room, a doctor's office. So you can see that person washing their hands, sterile. I can guarantee you that probably after the first couple classes, there's just so many of us in the same room that classrooms are not a sterile environment. Now, hopefully your hospital room, you wouldn't even call your bedroom sterile. It's like super over the top clean. Keep it to like hospital rooms and doctor's offices. How about that? You could have, hopefully, the needle you're using to get the shot, you want that thing to be sterile. You don't want the needle to be injecting any germs into your body. So sterile. Next one is gait. Look at how many more do we have? Oh, we don't have many more. Okay. This is going a bit long. This might be a 20-minute one, but we do have 15 words. So the next one is gait. That's the way a person or an animal walks. You can see this person. I would say they have a long stride or a long gait. And it looks like, I don't even know if that's a dog that man is walking, but looks like a hamster. What is that thing? Hedgehog. No, I don't know. It's probably a dog. But a lot of times if you ever, let me make that a little bigger. I don't know if you ever watch like a dog show. There's a tradition my family has on Thanksgiving. We'll watch the dog show. And they often talk about the dog's gait, how it walks. All right. Hopefully that's a good one. Hopefully not too bad. Feral. It is wild, savage, untamed. The most common way I hear feral is with cats. So if the cat doesn't have a home and it's out hunting every night, you might call it a feral cat. If you try to pet that cat, it might scratch the crap out of you. So very sad, and luckily very rare, but there have been some cases of feral children. It's pretty scary, but some major abuse has gone on. Like there was a girl found, I almost think it was in the city of Philadelphia, but basically her parents, like some of the most extreme abuse ever. And they kept her in a closet for until she was 13, until she was rescued from this house. She had very little contact with people. I think they fed her food, just kind of dropped it in the closet. She didn't see light. So I don't believe she ever acquired language, a feral child. I don't think she ever was able to speak. I think her gait was not the normal gait of a person. I think she walked on all fours. I could be wrong. I did a little research on her when I was younger, and it was just a fascinating topic. So sad, but you can have feral cats. I think that's where you'll hear it most of the time. And then unfortunately, there is something called feral children. But luckily, I can only think of like 5 or 6 times it's happened. I think one time in France, it was like a boy dumped in the woods, and somehow he survived. Yeah, but he was older when he was found. I think he was dumped in the woods maybe when he was 5, and he was found when he was like 13 or something like that. Feral children. There's the thought, if you don't acquire language by a certain age, you never will acquire language. There's something in our brains when we're younger, at a very young age. But anyways, sad topic. Counterproductive is the next one. Counterproductive. So it's actually having the opposite effect of something. It's like better if you didn't do it at all. Got a real quick story here as we go on to the 21-minute mark. I tried to fix my refrigerator a couple weekends ago, and it didn't work. I made it worse. It was actually better if I didn't touch the thing at all. It was leaking a little bit of water. So I watched a YouTube video, thought I could fix it. Actually made it worse. So the fact that I tried to fix my fridge, it was counterproductive. It leaks more now. So I'm pretty sure we need a new fridge. So think about that. It's better if you don't do it at all. It's counterproductive. So let's say there was some research that came out. We start school at 7:15. Maybe research comes out and says, you know what? If we start at 6:15, students will do better in school. Well, we try it out. And if students do worse, well, starting an hour earlier, that would have been counterproductive. Yeah, so counterproductive. And the last thing, you might see this on a, what do we call those things? Submarines? It's a periscope. See this boy right here? Maybe this person. I don't want to assume a gender. It looks like a boy, but maybe not a boy. This young child, maybe I don't want to assume his age either. Maybe this is actually an older person, and then they just look young. This person right here is looking through a periscope. Yeah. So I can't really point to it, can I? You can't see me point to it, no. But they're looking at something below, but they're actually seeing something like way above them. So periscopes work best on a submarine, probably. You're under the water, but the periscope allows you to see above the water. How about that? 23 minutes. Man, that's a lot of time to listen to one person. So hopefully that was helpful. Hopefully you watch this a couple times, you become an expert at these words. When you take the quiz, you will invariably crush it. All right.